This is BBC News, the headlines at 6 o'clock. New fears over plans for a ceasefire in Syria 2 days before it's due to come into effect. Well, Sakhr Al-Makhadhi is a British Arab freelance journalist who's based in London and Damascus, and he's joining me in the studio. What do you make of what's happening?
Well, you know, we've been here before, haven't we? Because the Arab League sent in monitors back in January, and that mission collapsed in utter failure because they were not given free rein to visit the places they wanted to visit, and the army kept on fighting. So the Syrian army looked for loopholes, and it found them, and it was able to continue this and break down the mission. We're now seeing a UN mission, which is hopefully going to go in after the ceasefire takes effect on Thursday. And there were very few differences between the UN peace plan and what the Arab League was hoping for. So I think we're going to see very little different this week to what we saw back in February when the Arab League mission collapsed.
Let's look at what we're hearing from both sides. So the Assad regime saying it wants written guarantees from the rebels. The rebels saying now they're not going to give written guarantees, but they're going to adhere to the ceasefire. Are they a cohesive group, though? Well,
both sides are playing a very, very clever game, aren't they? Because the Assad regime said that it would stop firing if the rebels agreed to ceasefire. This was clearly them looking for a loophole because they knew that the rebels couldn't stop fighting. And the rebels, on the other hand, have said, well, actually, you know what? Even if you keep firing at us, we're going to abide by this ceasefire. But I find it very difficult to believe that even if the head of the Free Syrian Army wanted them to stop firing, that they would, because they're not an army, they're not a cohesive group, they don't have a central command, they don't take orders from the top. So even if there was a ceasefire imposed upon them from the top of the FSA, the fighters on the ground, when faced with army tanks in their neighbourhoods, will continue to defend their neighbourhoods and will continue to fight. So
no ceasefire, you think?
I think it's very hard to believe that either side will sign up to this ceasefire, will abide by it. Both sides are looking for loopholes, both sides are trying to play each other off against each other. They've both signed up to this in bad faith. Neither wants it to succeed.
Let's look at the Assad regime and Assad himself. Now, maybe even 18 months ago, would you have thought this was going to happen? Did you think he was a man who would take this route?
Many observers believed that Bashar al-Assad was very different to his father, that he was a reformer. Of course, anti-regime dissidents had us believe all the way along that, no, that he was playing a very clever game, this was a PR exercise, and that we were being fooled. Well, it turns out we were fooled, because, in fact, the regime around him and him himself have proven to be very almost identical to the regime of his father. He will do anything to stay in power, and he's proven that he is prepared to keep fighting, and you know, every opportunity that he's had through the last year and a quarter, he's chosen the security option, to keep firing, to keep attacking the protesters. And the protesters have gone so far now that there is no way out for them. They can't pull back. The armed resistance can't stop fighting, because the moment that they do, the army will go in and finish the job off for them.
What about the international community? Is it impotent now in doing anything to stop this?
Well, the international community is divided, bickering. They can't agree amongst themselves. The Americans have come out with very strong words but very little actions. Russia and China have stood by the Assad regime all the way through this. I think Kofi Annan got it right when he went to visit Moscow and Beijing. The solution lies there. They have a price. They have some way of being turned. And if you want to end this quickly, you've got to find a solution there.
Sakhr Al-Makhadhi, thank you.